project is based around questioning the everyday of social media. We want to discuss the everyday of social media by looking into what social media provides for us, how it may affect us, and even how we may affect it throughout each day. When discussing this, we will look into certain aspects and notions surrounding this platform, such as the relationship between social media and our mental health, or whether it provides a luxury or potential danger as a platform of escapism. As well as this, we'll also be looking at ideas about how the pandemic may have changed our approach and uses of social media, and the influence or potential knock-on effects of viral trends. To sum up our project, we are questioning the everyday consumption of social media and how it influences, alters or changes our views or representation of everyday life. Due to the broadness of our project idea, we've made sure that all of our individual ideas are linked in some way, shape or form to one another. Because of this, when it comes to our navigation and design, we don't want to necessarily have a confined and constricted journey for the user. What we were hoping was to have a much more open and freedom of choice journey for the user, where they can select which topic or area of the site they wish to go to next. They have this luxury thanks to many of our individual concepts linking to one another. Therefore, we will be providing the user with a much more free and self-controlled journey to which they can navigate through in the order they wish to.
Our design layout will be bright and captivating with a happy look to it instead of being dull. In order to do so, we will avoid school colours such as grey and black, as these are plain as well as not being vibrant. A bright colour scheme such as orange and yellow will be displayed throughout the website in order to represent emotions and warmth, which links to our topics, as well as those colours being eye-catching. We will also include vibrant colours such as sky blues and hot pinks in the sense that both these colours especially link to mental health. The hot pink linking to charities and cancer, which is a state of mental health, and the blue representing coolness and charities such as the Blue Cross. The fonts will be bold and big to draw attention to the topics we will be discussing on our web pages, such as information on how social media and mental health link, being the main topic, hence why it will be displayed first as the introduction, how the pandemic is affecting our mental health, as well as socialization, a list of positives and negatives of social medias, what you can do in order to protect your mental health at this crucial time, and finally, who you should reach out to if you are suffering with mental health. An information point being on the final page. On each page there will also be a short video to play just briefly introducing each topic and what it will be about. For the fonts we will use Arial Black for the titles to each page, as it's big and bold, Bangla MN and Rockwell selected for text information, as Bangla MN represents social media logos having a bubble writing look to it, and Rockwell due to the fact that it looks like typing, linking to texting, as well as them both having a professional and clear look. Stencil font will be used for subtitles to give it that cool and interesting look, captivating the audience we want. Our target audience is aimed at teenagers in particular, due to the fact that teens have been the ones exposed to social media throughout their lives, as it was majorly invented and introduced around the decade they are born into. Nueva STD Cond, for the most vital pieces of information that needs the attention of everyone, perhaps as mostly cut lines for pictures. The intended experience and layout of the website should be accessible and easy to use in the sense that everything is clearly presented without too much going on in order not to make it overwhelming and complicated. The page that will have the most going on will be the home page strictly for captivation purposes. There will be the listed topics along the top of the home screen under the titled logo for the user to click on which topic they would like to access. This is an example of what we want our homepage to look like. It will be very visual, having pictures that are relevant to our topic, as we want the homepage to draw attention to the importance of what we are trying to portray, which is social media and mental health. Yellow on the homepage background represents Snapchat, a popular social media in today, and blue being the title/logo representing calmness. We want to have the images appear one by one onto the screen as soon as you click access to the website via link. The images will either fizzle on or whoosh in, as if they were coming from us into the computer.
We want our website to be filled with captivating pictures and videos that capture an audience and make them relate to what we are trying to put across. We want it to be colourful and positive, so the audience stay engaged and we can connect with them, making them feel like it's a safe space. Our intended experiences for our website. How we want the viewers to experience our page.
The presentation of self in everyday life is a book in which As for the core readings, The Presentation of Self in Everyday Life is a book in which the author used imagery to portray the importance of human social interaction. The book explains that when we are in the social world, we sometimes tend to put up a front in order to maintain a certain image of ourselves, that being work, school, or out with friends. Home is a place of rest and comfort where you don't have to impress anyone or maintain a particular professional image in most cases. Depending on where it is we are, who it is we are around, we, most of the time without awareness of it, carefully manage the impressions we give off in order to fit into society and or achieve our own personal goals. The book A Networked Self looks at self-presentation as well as social connection in the digital ages of today. It focuses on what happens to self-identity on social media, especially as most people just display the parts of their life that they choose to share with the world. Does your identity, community, and culture tend to change when you are portraying yourself on social media? Most of the times the answer is yes, unless you choose to focus your social media on those aspects. It is what you choose to present. In the book, they also address patterns and routines, social impact, privacy, class, gender and race divides, political impacts, etc. A film called The Social Dilemma is a Netflix show which shows how the world and today's society is being controlled and addicted via the internet, one of these especially being social media. We try to stay connected to ourselves and others through the source of our phones, more so than human interaction, due to the fact that we are too busy to do so, but somehow our phones would take up more time than actually going to see that particular person, etc. It also explains further on how the internet is addicting us instead of us being addicted to it, almost making it seem as if the internet wants us to be addicted to it. This TV show links to all our points in social media due to the fact that over the pandemic especially, the internet was the only source of interaction and entertainment we could turn to, much more so than before. The Social Dilemma discusses the internet's use in politics, its effects on mental health, and its role in spreading conspiracy theories. For example, in the film, one of the cast members mentions how its design is meant to nurture an addiction, and that itself is a conspiracy theory, as it's a belief that some covert but influential organization is responsible for an unexplained event. Another conspiracy theory in relation to that would be phones somehow picking up on what people mention and speak about throughout the day, then recommending stuff such as advertisements and topics based on that.
Our intended experiences for our website. how we want the viewers to experience our page, feelings, thoughts, realizations, surprised. How does our webpage do that? We intend for the viewers of our webpage to feel a sense of realization that everyone at the moment is using social media more than normal. We haven't got a specific target age audience group, mostly towards people with access to phones and social media. We want to make people aware of the time they're spending on their phones and whether it's affecting our mental health. Is TikTok taking a toll on our mental health? Today I'll be talking about TikTok trends, TikTok what I eat in a day, and positives and negatives of TikTok whilst in lockdown. The everyday life has now evolved around social media, with new trends being created by influencers, which many people get addicted to, which has become contagious during this pandemic. An example of this is TikTok. The positive side of TikTok is that during this pandemic, it's conserved friendships and created new ones and allowed friends to stay connected as they could follow a new trend together, such as a dance routine or the toilet roll volley challenge. As not keeping engaged with friends and family during lockdown could have significant effects on our mental health. TikTok following expanded massively, even on older generations getting involved and having their own TikTok accounts of a way to connect with people. And it was a way for families to do activities together. TikTok allows you to be yourself, creating videos with no makeup on and your pajamas, having fun, without worrying whether you have the perfect angle. Not all trends are positive. Some will have a negative effect on our everyday lives. Some social media trends are taking a toll on our mental health, with new body images and videos on what I eat in a day, potentially causing damaging effects, leading to eating disorders, as some of the videos were showing that eating under 450 calories a day was a healthy lifestyle. The comparative nature of TikTok could also be seen as detrimental to your mental health, especially the younger generation, who can be massively influenced by social media and influencers, and don't see themselves fitting into the same bracket, and almost feel isolated.
Social media has a huge effect to everyone and plays a massive part in the everyday life. Social media can influence people's mental health as it can be in a form of escapism from reality. Social media allows people to create any identity that they feel more confident and comfortable. This is due to being behind a screen. However, anyone can create an identity on the internet. This could be dangerous, as you can come across false identity, catfishing, predators, and scammers. Social media can also drive people into depression, envy, body dysmorphia, and can spread thoughts of suicide, affecting people's mental health. Although social media has had the ability to save lives in desperate situations for people who are suffering the everyday.
The internet is a great source for providing and checking news on the rest of the world. It can be used in order to provide awareness to others on the everyday life of what's new. During this pandemic especially, most people around the world have seemed to pay much more attention to updates on the news, as that was the only thing keeping us updated and connected to what was going to happen, as we remained restricted. BBC News is an obvious news source that we use to stay connected. However, that source tends to cater to the adult side of the population. Other not so obvious news stations that were originally classified as entertainment sources were also starting to provide insightful information on trending feeds, for example, a For You page, whether that information would be on COVID-19 vaccines and they're chosen to be released on date, or the Black Lives Matter protests, which still remains a huge piece of news that continues to change the world. One of these main sources would be from TikTok. Whether it was influencers providing the news, or perhaps even unknown accounts in which are being used solely for providing news. Spreading awareness, other sources of news count more towards Facebook and Instagram.
For my individual concept, I wanted to look into how our approach towards social media and the way in which we are using it has changed thanks to COVID-19. Certain topics that I'd like to look into to give me some perspective would be to research how much more time people are now spending scrolling through their social media accounts than they did pre-COVID. Furthermore, I'd like to look into how some people may have adapted within their ways of using social media due to limitations that the pandemic has brought along. My idea is to merely bring perspective on how we may have subconsciously changed within our nature and our approach towards social media because of the virus. Are we now developing potential bad habits or even addiction to our phones and the online? And are we putting ourselves at risk of addiction thanks to the limited interactions that COVID has caused?